Richard and Elizabeth have a new name. One day when Maria's mummy came to visit her 3 children at Mr. Browning's boarding school, she gave them a strange surprise. She told them that their last name was no longer to be Bethel. It had changed to the pretty French name Beauclerc. Maria's first name was changed too. She had a complete new name, which was Marie Beauclerc. Marie is French for Maria. The children were so puzzled. They asked why their last name was changed to such a strange name. Maria's mummy said it was a special French name and that they should ask Mr. Browning what Beauclerc meant. Mr. Browning said that Beauclerc meant very good at learning. Maria was happy about her new name now because she liked learning. She liked having an unusual name, although some people who lived in France had it too. France is a country next door to England where everyone knows what Beauclerc means and that it means good at learning. Not many people in England knew what Beauclerc meant, but Marie did, and she never forgot it. Maria, now known as Marie, liked her new name so much she even tried harder to do well at her lessons. As well as Marie never ever forgetting that Beauclerc meant good at learning, she also never forgot that she was lucky to go to school to learn, read and write properly. Marie kept thinking that she would like to change the rule that only boys should be taught to read and write. She wanted every little girl to be allowed to go to school. Most little girls who couldn't go to school grew up to be servants. Servants worked hard all day, but they only earned a tiny amount of money. They cleaned and scrubbed and cooked and washed for rich people. Servants lived in tiny, cold rooms, and they weren't allowed to go home very often. Marie didn't ever want to be a servant, and she didn't want anyone else to be one either. She thought if she learned to read and write well, she should never have to clean and wash and cook all day. She wanted to have an interesting job to do with writing. She also wanted to have enough money to do lots of different exciting things. Little Marie Beauclerc didn't know how, but she knew that when she grew up she wanted to make sure everyone, including servants, knew how to read and write. Marie kept learning and writing her clever stories until one day Mummy came to the boarding school to see her and Elizabeth and Richard. Marie was 9 years old the day her mummy came to tell her that she would not be at school any longer. Marie wasn't too sad because she could read and write properly already. Elizabeth and Richard could too. They loved their mummy and wanted to help her in every way they could. Marie's mummy said the ladies who needed fancy hairstyles didn't pay her enough money. She needed Marie's help so that she could do more hairstyling and so earn enough money to open her own shop. Elizabeth and Richard were 11 now and could read and write very well. After all, their name was Beauclerc too. They could leave school and not have to be servants. Richard could work in an office as a clerk and Elizabeth could work in a shop. It was good that Marie could read and write very well too, even though she was only 9 years old. She could also dance and loved to do it with her mummy. She knew she was lucky and she was happy.